Hi team, welcome back to another Bluebeam lesson today. In one of our previous Revit sessions, I think it was Victoria asked for kind of an overview of Bluebeam and sheet modifications on Bluebeam, specifically relating to page labeling, page scale editing, and some overall kind of Bluebeam features and tools that you can use. So this is kind of a relatively introductory uh, lesson on Bluebeam and some of those page label, page scale, sheet altering useful tools that you can use as an architect. So let's get started here. We have Bluebeam open right now. We're using a review is Bluebeam. I don't believe I know what version of review this is, but this applies to all versions of Bluebeam review, so it shouldn't matter on that. So today I have a project sample project open. Uh, some of the information's removed. There's several sheets. So a couple things first off the bat. When you open a project in Bluebeam, you'll notice right off the bat down here, it shows you how many sheets there are on the set. So right now we are we have sheet 1 selected of 24 sheets. So this second number here shows you how many sheets you have on the set. Useful tool. It also shows the page label here below. And then if you scroll over, it shows you the scale. A lot of times it's just scale, not set, which is perfectly fine. You really don't need to set the scale on a Bluebeam session. You know, the scale's already likely in the sheet itself and on the drawings within Revit. So once you plot from Revit, a lot of times this will still say scale not set, and I wouldn't worry too much about that. And then over to the right, if you pan over to the far right corner, here it shows the sheet size, which is 42 by 30 inches. So 42 inches wide by 30 inches tall. That is the sheet size. Bluebeam will always tell you the sheet size in the bottom right. Whatever sheet size you're using, it will show you there. So whether it's 8.5 by 11, whether it's 11 by 17 tabloid, and so forth. So that's kind of a quick overview of some of the tools down below, kind of referencing tools. You can quickly click this and type, page 23 to jump to page 23. That's something I didn't know about early on in Bluebeam, and definitely a useful feature to quickly, jump to page 18 instead of scrolling on the sidebar here. So on the sidebar here this is the thumbnails sidebar. When you click on these 4 squares, it toggles the thumbnails on and off, but that is the thumbnails, which is showing all sheets in the set. You can widen it to see, double, 2 sheets wide kind of thing, for faster scrolling, if that helps. But I like it single sheet wide showing on the left, so it doesn't take up too much of my screen space. Next is bookmarks. You'll see there's already bookmarks on this set, which is fine. We're not going to get into bookmarks too much today. We're going to focus more on page labels, but maybe I'll quickly review that at the end if I have time, and what those are about. So you have, again, something useful to know. You have thumbnails as well as bookmarks. Thumbnails are going to show the page label, which is this down here. So these page labels below the sheets here match here below the sheets themselves. So see, we have 3 that is labeled as a 3 down here. You can, one thing I want to show you, you can, if you want to quickly change the label, you can, double click onto it and type whatever you'd like. Sheet label, enter. So that is just by double clicking on the text itself below the sheet. Test label and enter. And that's as easy as that for changing individual page labels, which is nice and handy if you have one page or one sheet that is off and you just need to change the name quickly for the label. So labels themselves are up here. You can toggle page label on and off. You can also toggle on and off page scale right there, scale not set on this page. So again, pages and sheets I'm kind of using interchangeably because they are. So what else do I want to show you here? When you scroll down, you'll see, so a lot of times I like to keep the page scale off because a lot of times it will be sometimes set to something unusual. I think on page 7, for instance, it's set to 3/8 inch equals a foot, which is actually accurate because you scroll down to the sheet itself, bottom right on the scale, it is 3/8 inch scale, which is fine. But a lot of times they can get messed up, and so I like to keep my page scale off here because it's not super important. But say we want to, say we want to take all the sheet labels and zero them out back to, something normal. So say these are all edited sheet labels. You've got some weird labels in here, right? And everything's kind of unusual. To set those back to just numbers, you just right click and go to reset all page labels, which is super simple and straightforward. So once I click that, it'll reset them all from 1 to 24. So let's do that just to show you. Reset page labels, you're going to get this warning. Are you sure you want to reset your page labels? Yes, I'm sure. That's okay. I know I will lose all the page labels I currently have, which is fine. So we just click that and we're reset back to 1 through 24. Okay. All right, great. So for those of you who are relatively new architects in the field, most sheets will have a sheet number itself, which is this number right here. Sometimes there's letters involved. Oftentimes there is. For architecture, it's usually A first. For civil, it's usually C dot whatever or dash whatever number it is, the sheet number. So that first letter is a lot of times signifying the consultant whose sheet it is. So that's something important as a new architect. Another thing is the scale. There will always be a scale or as indicated, which just means there, or might mean that there's multiple scales on the sheet. So it just says as indicated there. If there's only one scale on the sheet, a lot of times it'll just show that scale there. So that is a Revit thing, not a Bluebeam thing. Also on projects and a lot of this sort of info, project number, original issue, issue date, is not something we'll get into, but a lot of sheets will have stuff like that, which is just important documentation. And then all sheets will have a sheet name, right? Or if most sheets should have a sheet name, they should. And if there's a blank here, you can, quickly overwrite it in Bluebeam, but I suggest editing in Revit and then just replotting. But your sheet name will be unique to that sheet, right? And I'm going to show you how to use that sheet name in a page label by using the the page region tool. So we're going to go through the page region tool right now and kind of cover what that means. So let's do that. By using the page region tool, we can label all the pages, all the sheets, pages in the document very quickly with a few clicks. And it's just very useful as long as all the sheets are the same size, right? And which they should be in the set. This will apply. If they're not all the same size, this likely will not work for you. So again, first you need all the sheets to be the same size. So what it is up here we have page label, page scale, we have create page labels. Since our page labels are kind of lacking right now, they're just numbers, we're going to use the create page label tool. And I actually want to do this on a sheet with, let's do this on a sheet with kind of a lot of text on the name itself. So maybe something like this one. Let's do this one. So this is a long sheet name. Okay, so I would suggest doing this on one of your sheets with a long sheet name, and you'll see why in a second. All right, let's click on create page labels, and we're going to go here. We're going to click on page region next, and we're going to make sure all pages are selected. That's important because we're doing a page label for all these sheets that is going to be very similar for all sheets. So page region and select. Now, first, we're going to have the sheet number first. So when I select this, just be very careful when you're selecting this. Make sure sheet is not within the selection. So you only want the sheet number itself within the selection, and you also don't want these lines above and below in the selection. But you want to max out so that if I only went to here, Maybe there's a sheet number with 6 digits instead of 5 like we have here. So that 6 digit would be cut off. So let's just go to the very end, but keep it within the lines and release your click. So that is region 1, okay? Whoa. So region 1 is the sheet number itself. Then we're gonna hit a space. We're gonna click into there, hit a space, dash space, and we're gonna do our second selection, all right? Which is going to be region 2, which is going to be the sheet name. So we have the number and we're gonna add sheet name. Let's do that. And I already messed up because I clicked, for some reason my click held and I'm now selecting here. So I'm gonna exit out of that, escape out of that. And that's fine if you mess up like that. It's actually good that I showed you that. You can just hit escape and it will jump back to where you were. So we're gonna try that again. We're gonna select add and make sure we only click once. And then same thing as the sheet number for the sheet name. We're gonna kind of max out our box. So click and drag and hold your click. And keep it within these lines. So we don't want to catch these lines above and below, but we also want to max out so that we catch any long sheet names themselves. So I think that should be about right. Let's release our click. And now we have region 1 dash region 2, nicely spaced out, and it looks good to go. Watch as I hit OK, all these sheet labels on the left will change from numbers to what we just inputted, because we're just capturing those. Basically, we're capturing the text within those region 1 and region 2s on all sheets because we wanted all sheets. So I'm going to hit OK. And it's just going to go back to this this screen, which just lets you select the page numbers again that you want this to apply to. Again, we want it to apply to all 24 pages, and then hit OK again. And it's creating, and it has created. So as you'll see, all the labels successfully were input down below each sheet, which is awesome. So this worked really well. It looks, I'm just going to scroll through to make sure everything kind of, and I suggest doing the same to make sure we kind of got what we wanted. And it looks like we did. So we have, a little different format for some of these sheets. Some of them are just like 2 digits or 2 characters and then 3 digits. Some at the top are a little different and show, 1 letter dot and then dot 2 digits, which is fine. It doesn't really matter what format you have on these sheets too much. We're not getting into formatting of sheets. We're more getting into page labels themselves. So it looks like this worked out really well. Okay. Next, what else do I want to show you here? So that is thumbnails and page labels. Bookmarks are something completely, they're different. Bookmarking, if you hit the minimize button up here on the top left of the bookmarks column, you'll see that everything collapses. So these plus and minuses are just to collapse and minimize if you didn't know that. But the nice one, and I didn't know this, is that you can hit the plus on the very top to kind of open everything up quickly and see it. And you can hit the minus, more importantly, to take everything off and then open individual sections, right? So that is a really nice thing, and some people, even experienced Bluebeam users or relatively experienced, don't know about that. So a nice little tool there. It's all about navigation in Bluebeam, being able to quickly, as an architect, being able to quickly move through sheets and find information that you need is very important. And so the better you are at Bluebeam, honestly, you'll be a better architect if you're decent in Bluebeam, because most firms use Bluebeam or something very similar for their PDF review before sending out documents and so forth. So that's kind of the overview. Let's minimize all this back to the basic. So in another Bluebeam lesson, guys, we'll get into kind of bookmarks more and how those work. I don't want to make this lesson too long, but this, and we'll definitely do that, but this is just more of a kind of overview of everything and how, more importantly, how thumbnails and page labels work, okay? So I'm gonna keep, before printing this, I don't like, before sending this out, sorry, I don't like the scale not set being there. There is as far as I know, there's no way to reset this scale not set for some sheets. if and comment below if you have a way to reset sheets to scale not set quickly, like with a click or two. But as far as I know, like for sheet 7, let's go to sheet 7 real quick. So page 7, we have a scale set of, you can see it here, 3/8 inch equals a foot. And that's not really going to affect anything. So and there is actually no way to reset that 3/8 scale back to scale not set, as far as I know, quickly without like converting it to another document, right? So I just like to keep the scale not set. And I could change this to have, apply that scale by right clicking on a thumbnail. You can set scale, right? And we'll get into this in another video as well, and how you can use a preset scale and add it to the sheet. And by using that, you can kind of go over here and use measurements, right? With this measurements tool, and kind of preset measurements, and then take length measurements of things on the document, which is really, a lot of architects use this tool, which is very useful too. So we'll get into that stuff in another video that I'll post soon. But that is pretty straightforward on labels and how they work. So again, I'm going to set this to page scale not showing on the Bluebeam document, and then I'm going to go File Save or Control S to save the file. One last thing before we close. I think we're a little under 20 minutes here. I want to show you a quick way to see. So if you go to Help and then go to Keyboard Shortcuts Guide. So keyboard shortcuts are something I really like to use. This is Bluebeam's preset keyboard shortcuts right here, and they're great. I use several of them. With Revit, I like to reset my shortcuts, but with Bluebeam, I kind of like their shortcuts that are already set, and so I use several of these. So if you forget shortcuts, you can do something like, you can go into Help and then Keyboard Shortcuts to open this. It just opens up a new window, right? Keyboard Shortcuts Guide, showing you the default shortcuts. So you can close and open that as you wish. To get into the keyboard shortcuts, to modify them, you just go to File, Review, Keyboard Shortcuts here. So top left, Review, and then drop down Keyboard Shortcuts. These are the shortcuts. They are categorized into tools or commands. Commands is stuff more like, Control P to print, Control S to save, create new document, and so forth. And I use some of these for sure. They're useful. And then the tools section is more like clouding, using the cloud tool here with C, or a call out tool, or an arrow with A. Some of these are presets, some of these are edits that I've made. So these are just some of the ones I like to use. There's no way to pull all the ones that have shortcuts to the top, as far as I can tell, which is unfortunate. It'd be nice to, right? Some of them are blank, and then the ones that are used are in between. So it'd be nice to kind of click this and have it all at the top, the ones that are used the most or something, but that is not the case, which is fine. So you can import and export these as well. But I just want to show you the keyboard shortcuts because they're always useful for tools that I really only use them for tools that I use frequently throughout the day. Things like an arrow or a cloud or a rectangle red line or something. So these are all useful. And then I think I also mentioned at the beginning, I was going to show you some of the tools in the toolbar and how to save something. So you can go over here to your toolbar, which is your tool chest. I apologize. It's called Toolchest, which is this little chest emblem. If you click on that, your recent tools will show up. And I guess everyone's Bluebeam can be set up a little bit differently depending on the version of Bluebeam you're using and maybe your company's presets. So finding some of these tools may be difficult, but I think most people have the same bar at the top where they can go to tools and find like their toolbars and everything. So I apologize if your toolbar, your tool chest is not here on the left, easy to find. You'll have to find that, and everyone's setup could be a little bit different. But when you are in the tool chest, these recent tools are very handy. You can also save things to My Tools. So say I had a text type I'm going to hit T for text and start typing uh, sample text, right? And let's make that a little bit bigger. And it's always frustrating because you actually have to be out of the edit to adjust the size, right? So let's make that 22 size text. And let's go into this. So one useful tool when you're in the text tool, if you are tired of the box being so big, and it applies more when you put a border around the text. So say I wanted a black line border, right? And I'm gonna make this like 0.5 thick. I'm gonna see how you can, you can manually do this and edit this, right, down to the size of the text itself, which is fine. But say it was huge and you're tired of doing that, and your text is only, this is all the text that you need within the box. So right click on it, click it, right click, and go auto size text box. If you do that again, you'll see there's a shortcut Alt Z to do that, which is useful. So, to resize that, you can just click on it and hit Alt Z. And that is awesome. It will shrink the text box or the border to be just right around the label itself or the text. So that will save you a lot of time as well. That's a useful one. Say I wanted to save this to my tool chest. I can just right click on what I have here. Say I want the line to be green as well, right? So everything kind of matches, and this is maybe just some red line, the way you want to label something in bright green. Who cares? You want to right click and add to tool chest down here, and then let me make sure that's on screen. So right click, add to tool chest, and then my tools. Click that, and that will add it. You'll see it here, add it to your tool chest, so that if I were to delete this and I wanted to quickly create that again, I would just go here and drop it in, and say, I know it probably wouldn't say sample text, but say it's a note that you do often, uh, you know, uh, add callouts or something. As an architect, maybe that's a note you make often. So let's auto size that, auto size text box. Say we want to add that to the tool chest. Wow, I'm clicking too fast. My tools. So we added that. It's now in there. So see, we click and we can drag it out and add another one. Let's delete both of those. Delete those, and let's actually delete that sample one because we don't like it to say sample text. So you just right click and delete. To bring that out, you select that and then just drag it out or click out to bring that out. And then you can obviously change the text from there, alter the text from there, and the box will go with it. So let's do that auto resize text box again because we like it nice and clean, and there we go. So this is kind of just useful stuff, and see how it changed. So it changes. I actually don't know why I added that automatically because we didn't add that to the tool chest. Oh, that's under recent tools. So that's the difference between my tools and recent tools. Since we just changed that text, you can grab that here, right, from the recent tools, which is like automated, grabs whatever you just did. And then that's the difference between that and my tools. My tools are the ones that you actually save within the document. So awesome, guys. I think that's about it. I think we've covered a lot already quickly, and I like to make my videos packed with information and quick, maybe hopefully not too quick for you. If it's too slow, you can always speed it up later to watch while you're watching also. So if you had any comments or questions, submit them down below, please. I'll get to them when I can, guys. And then if if you got anything out of this video, hit that subscribe, like button if it's available, and we'll move on to more stuff within Bluebeam. Maybe look at bookmarks next. Maybe look at scaling documents more, scaling sheets, so and measurements. So yeah, thanks guys. Have a great day.